Hey everyone, it's Ben from Blue Marlin Marketing again, and today I'm actually going to be bringing you part 3 of our YouTube Chat AI Chrome building a Chrome extension series. So today I'm just going to go ahead and actually show you guys how I run some error handling kind of stuff in using ChatGPT, how to uh, create new questioning, new prompts in there in order to actually um, refine the style of my chatbot and the functionality, um, so that it's not just you're stuck with whatever you started with. I'm going to show you um, some prompts that I use and kind of like how the output's supposed to look, and then just an overview exactly of how the actual application is going to work for you guys. Um, but as always, let me just start with going over just the things we're going to have in here. So make.com, Stripe, we're going to have our Airtable, no code or zero code kit, email, and webhooks. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go back in, show you the 3 automations. So I know that at the end last time we went over and I showed you guys my Airtable. My Airtable with the as people would put in, they would get a new unique ID, and obviously these are just random ones that I created, but it's cool because as they would fill out the Stripe thing, it would automatically update for that basically as they would enter in their unique ID. And then when they've actually completed the payment thing, this this Airtable is watching for the record to change actually in here. So if a new person was to be created, it'd be looking at their email and then the key, right? So then it would actually, in this email, so we send it to the person's email address, their API key, and then the unique ID. So with that unique ID, you'll actually have the user be putting that into either your chat window or your API key window that you set up in the previous steps. But I'm actually going to show you guys, if we go back to ChatGPT, I was actually running into an issue where I was not able to change out my API key, or if I wanted to switch it off one of those ones that I had previously set it up as to for testing or that kind of thing. So I went and wrote this. So I refreshed the Chrome extension, but that caused an error where I can't enter in my API key since the chat button won't work. Since it's not the first time I've clicked it, can you make any updates so that if the user needs to enter a new API key, they can click a key icon in the chat window that will let them do that. So that was just a function thing that I kind of wanted it to be, let's say in a world where you switched out your API key or something along the lines where your payment when you repaid, it wasn't the same, or you got a new key or something along those lines. But when you make an actual update or have it update like this, it's actually just going to return you the new sections of your code, or well, of your extension. So my content, my pop-up, all those kind of things. And then whatever you whichever new sections you'll have as well. So with that, you'll just go back into your oh, let me go into the right folder. You'll go back into your folder, and you'll actually just delete whatever files it says to update, and then just re-upload them. So just go Notepad, and then just clear it all out, paste it in, and then just save it as the same file name. But yeah, that's just how you'll update it. And then when you've actually made a change in there, then you'll just go ahead and update it on the actual Chrome extension. So you just hit refresh, or you can even load unpacked the whole thing again. But yeah, so that's another way that you can just go about. So it's pretty simple. Just you can change your whole code almost just using plain English. And then I'm actually just going to show you guys. Let me go refresh a new page. So we're in here. Boom. Here's our chat. And then as you can see, this is that key I told it to include. And then in previous ones, I told it to, hey, include the words YouTube Chat AI at the top of the chat window. And then here, pretty simple, you would just go enter your API key. So like, I mean, I would get it from here. And just a thing to note, to copy the ones that are like have a formula, you have to pop them out. But yeah, you do it like that. And then if we go back to our video, we could enter that key, or if we don't have it, we could go buy now. And boom, you're sitting at your Stripe page, or they're sitting at your link ready to buy or whatever. But isn't that like really cool? And once they've completed it, the buy will go through, and then it will wait like a little bit whenever it finds their updated stuff like in here, and then they'll get an email with this actual code in it, which is really cool. But like if we were to put in this code now, we could hit submit and then API key successfully submitted, and then we could go back in and like ask new questions like what's the most important thing to note in this video. We'll try that. Send. So we'll give it a second, and obviously all this is running, or this is running in the background. But obviously like the person that you had sold this to, or someone that was like subscribing to you, wouldn't be seeing your make automations. Obviously they don't need to know that that's actually what's kind of going, if that makes sense. And also you can refine like your prompt in here. I've showed you guys in the previous video, but I'll just like scroll through kind of slow here. So if you want to copy along, and like always, these will be in the community link. All the code and everything, if you just download it, it'll all be in there. I'll also have the code sections separately, just so you guys can like copy and paste those or anything if you want. Like the same files for my extension, I'll just have a download available for you guys. But yeah, as we scroll through this, you can kind of see like how I set up the prompt, but you can use your own wording and everything depending on exactly what kind of bot chat thing you're trying to build it. And it doesn't really have to be a chat bot. Yeah, and then I've talked about this before, but we just do the sender and then the text, so the like conversation history knows like who sent it, what the question was, that kind of thing. I just did up to 30. And then we do this as just the result or the data from that. Pretty simple. But yeah, now that it's done, you can see, I mean, I have it write like a pretty long, complex answer, but that's awesome that it gives you one. And then similarly, I had to like add that X button. But yeah, and then you could also like change different like UI things. Like you can move this button anywhere on the page, or you could change the colors of this. It's as simple as just changing, like telling ChatGPT, hey, I want to use an orange and red chat window, or I want the chat button to be a black button with red text, anything like that. And then I wanted to include a key icon. Obviously, I didn't have to put in like an image of this thing. It was able to do it. And then if we just like refresh, and obviously like another thing to fix, now that I'm running into, I'll have to create an X button on this, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of really cool that like there's all these simple or complicated changes that you can make without really having to do anything. All you got to do is reprompt your whatever you've created. Let me get to the bottom. Just reprompt however you want, and copy and paste or delete the files in your current folder and then reinstall them, and then just update the extension. But yeah, once your extension is like up to date and all that, then you should be good to go for testing. And obviously you can see you can create them for like different things. Like I've made this other extension, which I'm calling like a domain buster basically, and it shows up on every site right now, but what it does is it actually allows you to have like a detailed conversation with a website. So it has the same sort of concept, right? But what this guy does is actually pull like contact information and like transcripts and HTML data from the website, and then allows you to have a conversation with those. I don't believe it's turned on now, so I won't actually show that. But that's just kind of like an idea for you. There's a million different like ways that you can interpret like a Google Chrome extension. And if you go to Chrome and just like see things that exist, you can make your own spin on them. Or if you have like something that you personally are having issues with, you can always build something for yourself as well. You don't have to set it up for payments or anything like that. And just a thing to note also is if you're going to have like multiple things like this built where you need to have like a lot of stuff running at once or like 3 automations running at once, if you have the free version of Make, I'm pretty sure it won't allow you to do more than 2 scenarios at a time. So you may have to upgrade. You could obviously always just run them too if you knew like a incoming payment was coming in. Like if you had sent a link over to somebody or something like that, you could always turn them on for that period of time, wait for whatever information to come through, and then turn them off. But yeah, that's just one thing to note. Also, another thing to note is in order to use like ChatGPT in here, you'll actually have to have some API tokens. They're really cheap. You'll just go to like OpenAI, and then you're just gonna go into like the API tokens, and then it's super cheap. It's like $5, get you like 1 million or something like that, and they last a pretty long time. But yeah, and then also just make sure that you, when you're actually creating your thing, that this webhook, you actually make sure that your ChatGPT knows that that's the hook. Like whatever webhook you've created when you create your automation, that's the hook that ChatGPT is connected to, or that's like the chat that this automation or this extension is connected to, because otherwise it will create issues for you where you won't be seeing data coming through and it'll be a whole thing. And also just make sure that that you've actually fed it your specific payment link. Otherwise it will like in your code leave like a blank where it's like fill in payment link or your Stripe link, and that will be like another thing that's not actually working. Also in here, in order to like once you've had your Airtable set up and everything, you want to make sure that you have a filter for whether or not they're like a paying customer or not. So all we've done is just say is if they have a unique ID, if that exists, like there's a value there, then they must be a paying customer, and otherwise they're not. So in the webhook responses, it's important that you include this like content type and then text or plain. If you're just going to like write text in there, if that makes sense. Like if you're just going to put in words and like this, or like here's my link or whatever, that's actually how you'll specify that. And then same sort of deal from here, since the body is actually just coming in from ChatGPT, which we can go choices, message, content, and then content type as plain text. But yeah, if you have any questions about anything on any of these automations or on the Airtable or Stripe or ChatGPT or anything else with any of this, feel free to leave those in the comments below or on the comments of any of the other parts of this series. Also, I guess don't forget to like and subscribe. That always really helps us out. So thank you for that. But yeah, once again, have a great rest of your day, everybody. And yeah, talk to you later.